Welcome back to Real Community Talks, where we meet with micro-level influencers doing macro-level things. I'm your host, Matt DeSilva, and on today's episode, we have my guy, Khaled Iwamura, the founder of Quick Bite News, aka the company behind the popular Insauga, now in Brampton and in Halton. Khaled, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
So for those two-waste individuals, those two-waste people who don't know who you are, and I don't know why you wouldn't, Khaled is currently the founder and editor, like I said, in chief of Quick Bite News, which is comprised of Insauga in Brampton and Halton. And a lot of you probably might know Insauga really well if you're in Sauga. It's one of the biggest city websites in Canada. It's the largest media company in Mississauga. And together they generate around 3.1 million page views.
I wish it was billion.
3.1 million page
It'll
views.
Be there. It'll be there soon.
He is a TEDx speaker, so don't be waste. Go check that talk. He is a Tokyo tourism spokesperson, the host of Live with Khaled, was a partner of the Marketing Pad, graduated with a diploma in marketing from Sheridan College and a diploma in web development.
You're going way back here. Oh my goodness.
And among many other things, he is a TV host and producer. He MCs multiple events around the GTA and around other cities. And the most important thing that keeps him going is his family, being a father and husband. And lastly, maybe the most important thing actually, is he's a part-time pro wrestler. So how does one become a part-time pro wrestler?
Okay, so it's probably not the most important thing, but in Mississauga, within Sauga, I get to meet so many amazing people. And one of the people that I got to meet was Santino Marella. Do you remember him? And his real name is Anthony Corelli.
Okay.
Right. So, and he had an incredible WWE career. He won a WWE Tag Team Championship with Kane.
Wow.
Right. And he also won an Intercontinental. So he actually legit won belts. And he has a gym called Battle Arts Academy. And anyways, I'm a huge wrestling fan. And I, just asked him to be on my show a couple of years back. And he accepted. And, I was super excited to meet him. I was like, and then he asked me, he goes, do you want to try pro wrestling? Because at his Battle Arts Academy has a monthly pro wrestling kind of minor league circuit. And he allowed me to actually go out and take some bumps. And I trained with him for a month, and we created a documentary. So kind of a crew followed me around as I entered a battle royal.
Okay.
And the cool thing was he was like, you're going to win the battle. It's orchestrated, right?
Yeah.
It's as real as it gets. So if you don't get out of the way of the punch, you're getting punched. You are legit. The dude was telling me, he goes, I'm going to swing as hard as I can. If you're in the way, sorry, buddy.
Jeez, you got to have good reflexes.
Right. So, and I remember Santino, he's like, Anthony, he says, you're going to win it. And I'm like, I don't think I should win it because I'm not going to do this very often. Right. And so I guess a bad guy, a heel, said, okay, I'll do it. Right.
Yeah.
So anyways, it was me and him at the very end, and the funny thing is my son is watching from the crowd.
Wow.
So, and it's kind of a cool, it's the Don Koloff Arena, right? So he sets it up as a pro wrestling arena, I guess when there's wrestling matches, and it's pretty cool. It holds about 200-300 people.
Wow. Okay.
And my son's watching it with his friends. My son doesn't know this is orchestrated.
Oh,
right.
Shoot.
So my son's like, seeing me get punched, and he's like, "What
are they doing to my
dad?" Yeah, it's like he's like. So like I explained it to him afterwards, but during this, I'm getting beaten up by 20 guys, right? But I told him afterwards. But anyways, it was probably one of the most funnest things I've ever done in my life. That's awesome. And I forgot all the technique when I was being thrown over. So my arm got stuck in between the ropes, got bruised up. But I didn't care because it was one of those moments you're just going with the flow.
Yeah.
And but it was incredible. So all the documentary you can find on Insauga's Facebook and insauga.com. But it was the most fun I've ever had.
That's crazy.
I know how to take bumps. Did it 2 other times at Celebration Square as well.
Not too many people get to have a pro wrestling story, so that's pretty dope.
Dude, it was crazy. I'm a lucky man. I'm a lucky man.
All right, so for those people that may know you in the public light, but they may not know your origin story. So what's your origin story? So who is Khaled Iwamura and where are you from?
You talk about how I started the business and stuff?
No, just you as an individual. So like origin story for you. We want to get a bit more personal with you today. So
it's a deep question.
Okay.
So everything in my life is about family, love, just everything that I do for, the business. It's all for the family. I have a son that is my inspiration for everything. It sounds cheesy, but it's true.
Yeah.
I have an incredible wife, and those are the things that keep me going. It's family, love. Just am I answering this correctly? Like, is this? Yeah, it's
that's good. That's good. Yeah, no,
because I don't know where to go from here. But it's just my family. Keeps me going because when you start your own thing, that's pretty much all you have.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk TL Kennedy days. What were you doing those days leading up to where you are now?
So I was a pretty bad kid. In a sense that, I never got into trouble with the law or anything like that. But I was a kid that was a punk, where I smoked and stuff like that, and never really did well in school. I did just enough. I knew what to do to get by, to get into college. Pass. Get a diploma in TL Kennedy. I went to TL Kennedy. Yeah. So it's like, don't hold that against me. All right. So
I want to know what's the top high schools and if TL Kennedy even made that or not.
Okay. So here's a trippy part. A couple of years back, I believe it was like 2015 or 16, I got asked to talk to the graduates. Right. So here I am. I was not a good student.
Yeah.
But they asked me to talk to the graduates. So I said, cool, 100% I'll do it. Right. And I talked to my friend that owns the Burgers Priest. Do you know the Burgers Priest?
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Okay. So he went to TL Kennedy as well.
Oh,
so
really?
We went to TL Kennedy together.
The
right?
one near Sherway?
The one Burgers Priest. He has like 15 locations.
Oh, okay. So he owns Burgers Priest.
He is the Burgers Priest, right? He started it, but he's already sold it, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But legit, I think he had 15, 16 locations and sold it, right? So I called him up. I'm like, dude, I'm talking to TL Kennedy. Do you want to come? 100% he was down. Yeah. And I also friends with DJ Starting From Scratch, which is Russell Peters Torgy DJ. Yeah. He's one of the biggest DJs in Canada. And we became friends through insauga, hired him for some gigs. Nice. He actually started working at my gym at one point at Vigibal. I'm like, dude, TL Kennedy, wants us to do a talk. You down? 100%.
TL Kennedy got blessed with starting from scratch.
Yeah, wow. So here we are, starting from scratch, the Burgers Priest and myself, and we're just, kind of dropping a little bit of knowledge here and there to the graduates and stuff. And we can, we were one of those, when you're up on stage, you start losing some kids. And you're not there to affect every single person, right? You're there to affect one or two, right? So we were up there, we're like, man, we're losing them, right? And Scratch has some incredible stories. I have so much admiration and respect for him because he's done everything without compromising what he believes in. He's been a DJ through and through, and Shant, he's created a burger empire. So we were dropping knowledge and stuff, and so at the end we're just like, I hopefully got through to one or two kids, and then in the summertime I did the show at Celebration Square. Kid comes up to me and he goes, Khaled, and I'm like, hey, and he's like, oh, I was at your at a talk at TL Kennedy. I was one of the students, and you inspired me to go to college. Right. And I'm like, wow.
That's crazy.
So I grabbed my phone. I'm like, dude, thank you. Grab my phone, message Scratch and Shant. Shant is the Burgers Priest.
Yeah.
And I said, dude, we made it through to one kid. And they were so happy. So that was kind of a cool story.
Wow.
So
I like that because I recently got an opportunity to go to speak to my high school, and
what high school is that?
Lincoln M. Alexander.
Okay.
So whenever you think of Lincoln, people always think bad things, but it's getting better, and there's teachers who actually really care about those kids there. But the thing is, I was the valedictorian at graduation. I was a youth worker for the city of Mississauga, so I'm just across the street from my old high school where I used to get kicked out of by the librarians. Talked confidently everywhere, but then when it was going back to my own high school kids, I told them straight up, I'm like, I'm more nervous to do this than I was to speak to a bunch of parents at valedictorian. Because I'm like, you guys can see through my BS, right? Like, you guys can, like, you're not just gonna want another colorful set of words. You want to know someone who's done it and giving you those kind of those gems, right? But I like what you said, because I was like, man, there's 45 kids here, I need to hit all of them. But even if it was that one that went to college, it was all worth it.
You don't need to hit all of them. You just need to hit, one or two to kind of get through.
Well, I needed to hear that, so thank you.
Yeah.
So you got people like Bill Gates who developed Microsoft out of garage.
Yeah.
So what's Insauga or Quick Bite News's like origin story? Where did that start up, and how did it grow into this big empire?
I don't have, like a deep story. I've always loved Mississauga, and it was kind of one of those things that I've always wanted to do something big for Mississauga, and I knew this like way before I started Insauga, and so I looked for something to do in 2011 on Google. Just typed in things to do in Mississauga, and I'm just like, wow, there is no website that's dedicated to things to do in the sixth biggest city in Canada, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, light bulb. Grab the name, went to GoDaddy or something, grab the name insauga.com.
Wow.
And insauga.ca. And I went to my programmer because I suck at programming. And I just said, dude, I have this idea. You want to be my partner on this? You program everything that comes out of my brain and out of my mouth, right?
Yeah.
And we'll start Insauga. And we were at Moxie's at Square One, and
Wow.
the stereotypical, we started writing stuff on the napkin, right, for the idea. And that's pretty much how it started. In 2011, we came up with ideas. We did focus groups with friends and acquaintances. And in January 1, 2012, we launched. And we launched, and this is scary because this is territory that Mississauga has never seen before. It's like a website about things to do, right? Toronto had its blog TOs and stuff like that. But first day we had 273 page views.
Wow.
Right. And last week, in one day, we had, I believe, 275,000 page views in one day. Yeah. So it's like, and that's how much we had in 1 year. The first year on Insauga.
That's still pretty good though.
Yeah, it's like so it's like it was one of those things that we didn't know where it was gonna go, but the web business is super tough because you can't make money until you hit a certain threshold of page views, right? Because if you're trying to get advertisers, like, how many pages do you have? 273. They're like, they'll laugh you out of the the building. So that's pretty much how it started, and it's just been really sacrifice and hustle ever since. So just doing all the writing, my programmer doing everything for free, and I'm doing all these top fives. And at first it was kind of like events, history, fun things to do in Mississauga. Then it evolved into to news. The news started. Do you remember the house explosion?
Yeah.
Right. So by Dixie there.
Yeah.
That's when we actually started news. So we started news in 2016 because we started putting out PSAs, like public service announcements for that area, and our traffic skyrocketed.
Wow.
And we were just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Right. And and then as soon as we figured out that people will come to us for news, we hired a couple of news writers, and we've been starting doing news ever since then.
Nice. One thing I like about like Insauga and some other sites is it's like you guys just do what you need to do, but it's not like always negative stuff. It's fun stuff. And like, I hate, like, I'm not trying to bash names, but I hate watching CP24 because it's always like this person died. The government sucks, and it's just like, where are you like highlighting like fun things to do, or like this, or like people who are doing great community things, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, one thing we do, I have an incredible team now. Like my team, they're a bunch of rock stars, amazing people, just cool to hang out with. So every Monday we meet for an editorial meeting, right? And all we talk about is kind of positive news, right?
Good.
Just because, I hate to say it, bad news will fall in our lap, right? There'll be bad news. We'll have to write about it, right? But, good news doesn't fall in our lap. We have to go find it and create it, right? That's true. So every Monday we sit around just talking about, what artists we're going to talk about, what community builder we're going to talk about, what we, so it's like, so we always try to keep it as positive possible because of all, the negativity that's, that the news is, right? So that's what we try to do. Yeah.
So one thing I was telling those kids at that talk was, you might see me in my process year 13 of what I'm doing or whatever, but you don't know where I was year 1, right? And obviously someone might assume that Insauga was like, it started when you were really young and not knowing it started just only in 2011. So like talk about you were starting a website and a news website, but then like what were you doing like financially, even just as to support yourself to do that?
Dude, it's all about sacrifice, right? Just it was extremely rough, you know, when you're starting up something, you better have people that support you.
Yeah.
From a loving point of view.
True.
It's like people, I'm not talking about a financial standpoint,
Yeah.
but I'm like, so it's like you better have, you know, the emotional support throughout, just because, you know, I can talk about this now because it's doing well.
Yeah.
Right. You know, you don't want to talk about it when it's doing bad.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, like, you know, when we were going through, you know, the motions, we sold our condos, you know what I
Wow.
mean? To keep it going. You know,
Wow.
we had to move back to our my mother-in-law's place,
Wow.
right? To keep it going, like, because you just knew the idea was going to work. Right. And you just didn't want to, you know, it's all about sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'll get, you know, if this works out, I can get 5 condos and I can get one in Tokyo, you know. It's like, so what's the point of having this condo now when, you know,
Facts.
when you
Yeah.
can, you know, later on in life you can get more,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not being articulate here, but yeah,
It's okay. No,
but
no.
yeah, but
I
it's
get what
like
you're saying.
it's all about sacrifice. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, we had no money, you know, we had to go into our credit and all this stuff. But now it's come to the point that, you know, 4 years, we didn't make our first dollar until 4 years.
Wow.
Right. It's not, that's why media companies don't pop up everywhere. They, you know, they'll be like 1 year and they're like, oh, wait, hold on. There's no money in this.
Yeah.
There really isn't.
Yeah.
Right. Until you get to a certain size. But yeah, it was all about how much you're willing to sacrifice. And I think that's for anything.
Yeah.
Right. You know, if you think about how incredible we have it here in Canada,
Yeah.
we can sacrifice a lot,
So true.
right, to get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
You could sacrifice. We're lucky enough that we have healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
and it's such a simple thing. But I mean, you could lose everything and still have healthcare,
That's crazy. Yeah.
right? Where in other countries, if you lose everything, you lose your health.
Yeah. Like you're dying.
Yeah.
Like you have to pay to like basically.
Exactly.
In the States. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, but yeah, it was just a lot of sacrifice. I mean, we made it, you know, and you know, super proud of my team. You know, shout out to one of my senior editors, Ashley Newport. She believed in the product, right? So she actually worked for free
Wow.
for 2.5 years.
That's awesome.
Right? Because she believed in the product. So because she had such a big, you know, role in this getting insauga up, I gave her a piece of the company.
Nice.
Right? Just because, I mean, I'm not a greedy person, but if it
Yeah.
wasn't for her,
Yeah.
this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just like, I went to my other part. I'm like, dude, we got to give her something.
Yeah.
Because it's like, she literally, you know, was my editor,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? For free for 2.5 years. So
Yeah.
she earned her job as a senior editor and owner.
Yeah.
So
So being like an entrepreneur, like, from what I'm taking from like what your story and even just some people that I know, it's like, it's not like you go to a school for this and like you're trained and, you know, whatever, but it's like, it's kind of falling into place as you're just walking. And it's not so much about like having it all figured out, but like to even have the leadership capacity to like have people come work for free is a skill set on its own. And then,
yeah, that I don't know if that's a skill set, but I mean, I think it's a byproduct of a good idea, right? Because I mean, she believed in the idea because they were like, there is no other competition other than the Mississauga News, right?
Yeah.
So it's like Mississauga News, and there's competition now, which is great. I'm surprised it took this long, right? But I mean, but yeah, it's I don't know if it's a skill set to get people to work for free, but I mean,
Yeah.
now we have a team of 12 people, you know, and
Yeah.
all full time, and everybody's a rock star
Yeah.
on our team. Like my main concern is I don't want to disappoint them. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my main concern now.
No, it holds up. So do you guys like have like an expense card? It's like, go try this top 5 Chinese places. And
we don't have an expense card, but I mean, we have a credit card and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I mean, back in the day, when we started, it was me, right? Like I went to, so I can't go do it now because they might know me now. Like I'm not saying that I'm popular, but,
No, but
if I walk
you're
in and they're
familiar
like,
face.
"Hey, Khaled,"
Yeah.
it's like I'll get the shawarma from the back on a
Yeah.
silver tray. You know, like I'm
Extra
like,
tabbouleh.
yeah, exactly. Like, why didn't that come off the spit? You know, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like, you know. So I'm just like, I can't rate that,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So I have like real foodies now that actually, you know, go out. But back in the day, my one of my first top fives was shawarmas.
Oh, nice.
And Mississauga has like the most shawarma joints probably in any place in the world.
Yeah.
Probably per capita, right? It's like, so, and I went to 38 shawarma joints in 48 hours.
30 in 48 hours?
Yeah, because it's like, I'm not eating all of them.
Okay,
right? I'm
okay.
taking one bite and I have a check mark and stuff like that, you know,
Yeah.
like size, you know, taste, the
Wow.
toppings. And
That's
man, as much as there's good shawarmas, there's a lot of bad ones.
Yeah. Okay, what's your favorite one though?
It's changed so much,
Yeah.
right? Because I haven't done it lately, but I mean, like some of the ones, man, I forgot the name, but it's by Father Gates. There used to be a place. There is a place. I forgot the name, but
okay.
it's by Father Gates. It's Confederation and what's it called? Central Parkway.
Yeah.
Right. So, but and then, you know, Paramounts are pretty consistent.
Yeah.
You know, my boys like Osmos. You know, Osmos
Yeah.
is good, and
What about-
Osmos is from Mississauga.
Yeah.
Like the first Osmos store was in Streetsville,
Mm.
right? So
What about Alibaba's?
Alibaba.
Are you a fan of that? It's more so in Toronto. So like Ossington and Bloor is okay. Not just any Alibaba's. Like if you go to the one in Rexdale, like sorry guys, your food sucks. But Ossington and Bloor.
Okay,
Alibaba,
but here's my thing. There's like a border. There's like
Yeah.
a wall there at Etobicoke. I don't
Yeah.
cross.
Okay.
I'm kidding. It's like because I'm like I
We
don't
rate those food.
Yeah, it's like I don't rate them. So.
Yeah. Okay. So how did the TEDx opportunity come about to you? Like you know, was it someone reached out to you or you had to apply to it or something like that?
Just like all TEDx, you do have to apply for it. So you have
Okay.
to come up with an idea that's you know that's I guess worthy enough to become a TED TED talk or sorry TEDx talk, and my talk got accepted and it was a cool experience just because you don't realize how powerful the TED, you know, it's the TED name is, right?
Mhm.
You know, I've traveled to Japan, right, in Tokyo, and I'm like in a town of like, you know, a smaller town in Japan. I'm like, and they see my Instagram, they're like, "You did TEDx, right?" And I'm like, "Yes." I'm like, "How?" And I'm like,
I love how
I'm
you
like,
switched to the accent.
no, it's like, but I'm like, what, really? It's like I'm like, I did pro wrestling too,
Yeah,
right? And they're like,
they don't care.
No, they're like, TED, you did TED, right? And I'm like, yeah. So it's like it was a cool experience because it opened the doors to a lot of talks that I get to do now.
Nice.
And it was about how. Did you see the TED talk?
I did. I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet.
It's really quick. It's 8 minutes, right?
Yeah,
So it was just about how it was called "How I Beat the 6 p.m. News with a Fishing Rod."
I like that.
Right, and what it pretty much was. I'll tell you the story. The house explosion.
Yeah.
Right. So it was media day. Right. They let all the media players and myself. So it's all the A-list media players like CB24, Michelle Dubé from CTV, and like all the top people. They're all nice people, but I'm there with a laptop bag, right, and an 8-foot selfie stick, right, and a gadget to hold my phone at the end of it, right.
Wow.
And they're there with like 10
Sony
satellite
cameras, yeah.
satellite vans.
Wow.
Right. So they all got together and I heard one of them say, "Look at that kid with the fishing rod."
Kid with the fishing rod.
Right?
Wow.
Obviously pointing at me, right? I did look like I have a fishing rod, right? But so they said, "Go ahead, you could go in." One thing they didn't know, right? And this is part of the TEDx. I'm kind of saying the TEDx now,
Yeah.
right? Was that it was the actual explosion site was behind a fence. So anybody with a heavy camera, couldn't see it. I had my fishing rod.
There you go.
I'm posting it on Facebook Live.
There you go.
And I'm getting 10,000 viewers.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's like, so I beat the 6 p.m. news.
Wow.
With a fishing rod
through social media.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool. It was the funny thing is with a TEDx talk, you really have to practice. You really do to because it's probably going to be the biggest stage as far as a talk goes.
Yeah.
And I remember at the gym, I'd be at the cardio machine, and everybody doing cardio would literally have to listen to my TED Talk. So everybody knew my TED Talk at the gym, and I gave my son like ketchup chips, and I'm like, dude, you got to watch me for like 5-6 takes. So he knew all the jokes, like he knew exactly where, you know, like the jokes were coming, right? So, and of course I mentioned him, and he laughed his brains out. It's funny. He knew the joke was coming, and he was like, ready to laugh, right? So, but it was a great experience. I
awesome.
wouldn't take it back for anything. And I would, and I like the fact that it challenged me.
Yeah.
Right. I do a lot of talks, and it is really off the cuff, right? But this one I really had to practice. So I had to get myself out of the comfort zone to actually do it. Yeah. Right. So it's like I have to like write it down. I have to, you know, memorize word by word, right? Because anyways, and because of that, it was probably one of the best talks I think I've done. Yeah. Right. So, but it got me out of my comfort zone for sure, because whenever I do talks, it's just, I just say whatever I want. Right. So
how did you get to that place? Because I mean, I know certain people prepare in different ways, and certain people might need like a page to cue them. Right now, I'm still at that place where I need a page to cue me. Right. I think when it's something that I'm confident about talking about, it'll easily flow. But if it's something that is a little bit more abstract, or I'm trying to hit on a point, it's harder for me. So
I think once you get used to it, so I've been doing this I've been talking probably for the last 5-6 years, and you start getting used to questions. Yeah. Right. So I mean, like it starts getting to be not repetitive, but you know, the same questions be asked. How'd you start in Sauga? How'd you do this? Right. And then you start getting good at answering it. Yeah. You know, like I feel like I'm teaching a lesson here, but it's like, but it's true. But once you start getting going, right, you'll remember all these answers.
You
right.
Do it a few times. Yeah.
But the cool thing, sometimes you get a question that nobody's ever asked. Right. And I like that, because I'm just like, ooh, that's a good one. Right. Yeah. Hopefully you ask me one of those questions.
I hope
yeah,
so.
I'm kidding.
I hope so. If I actually stump you, that's like a career goal. Like.
Yeah, it's just been practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know you kind of talked about the pro wrestling. I'm not sure if this was relative to it, because I know you said you did that 6-pack challenge, and you cut your body down like crazily.
So totally different story. So that's I started. I used to have a Rogers show. On Rogers TV years ago. And I interviewed this gentleman by the name of Adam Trabluski that owns Habitual Fitness. Yeah. And he said,
shout-outs to them.
Yeah. And no joke, like, so I've been going there for 4 years, and he said, why don't we do a 6-pack challenge? Right. So what it was pretty much, he would put me on all his trainers. Right. And so 4 days a week, I would go in with personal trainers, and in 4 months, I would rip off my shirt on TV at Celebration Square, because in summertime at the time, I used to do the shows at Celebration Square. I'd rip off my shirt, and I have a 6-pack. The hope was to have a 6-pack, right? So, but it's the gym is probably the best gym I've ever been a part of, just because I've been to a lot of gyms, and I've been going there for 4 years now, and it's trained me into thinking about health. Yeah. Right. And there's no way I could have done what I'm doing now without the health aspect of my life. And now it's like, you know, because of their mentality and, you know, of what I should be doing for my health, it's kept me going as far as from a business standpoint. And yeah, these guys have got me like to the shape I am now. And obviously this is the oldest I've ever been. And this is, you know, like the most healthiest I've ever
awesome.
Looked. And these guys are, you know, I feel guilty when I don't go to the gym. I really do. And like, I'm that like that dude that whenever I go on vacations, I look at the gym at the resort before I pick the resort. I'm that guy now. It's like, so it's all because of Habitual Fitness. So located on Mavis and Burnham Thorpe.
No, sorry. They've been popping up, so shout outs to them.
Yeah,
like we'll drop them on the screen right now.
Yeah. So awesome.
That it was really interesting, because I actually started 37 days ago. I'm like, okay, I need to get myself in shape. I'm 26 years old. Even the field that I'm in right now, like, I feel drained. I feel like I'm just sluggish. And I'm like, you know what? I've tried before. I've lost 40 pounds before, but it wasn't sustainable and it wasn't healthy, and it was just like killing my body. Yeah. But for me, I'm like, if I need to do this, it has to be a lifestyle change, not like I need to lose 40 pounds type of change, right?
It's a mentality thing. Yeah. It's all a mentality thing.
Yeah.
So, and somebody, it's like, I had to do the whole personal training thing
Yeah.
for that to actually been ingrained in my head. You know, I'm not trying to promote habitual, but I mean, getting a personal trainer at the very beginning will last a lifetime of health and education.
Yeah. I know it's true. Like for me, I might not, I don't even know if this is like good advice, but just for what I did for myself is I know that when I do too many things at once, I start overwhelming myself. So I'm like, okay, I need to make one lifestyle change, so let me just start eating a little bit better. Yeah. And it wasn't like strict, like I'm going for kale smoothies or anything, but it's like I'm just, you know, getting my proteins, getting more vegetables on the plate. And like I only started working out, actually yesterday was the first day I started working out after this lifestyle change, day 36. But I lost 25 pounds just changing what I ate. And
good for you.
I'm using this app called Lose It. Shout out to Lose It app. And it basically told me today, it's like I lost 25 pounds, and it's like you basically lost like the weight of like a Welsh Corgi puppy or a Welsh Corgi dog. So I'm like, that's pretty legit. But nah, definitely, I think it's a lifestyle change, and it's like even my mood is better, my attitude, just my outlook on life. It's
energy,
crazy.
It's your energy. It's
crazy,
like it's everything. Yeah. So it's like you have to make time for your health, no matter how busy you are.
Yeah.
Because you do. I don't care if it's like. If I have 30, 45 minutes, I'll rush in, do a quick workout, and I'm out.
That's right.
And then I just have this energy high, like this, this gym high.
Yeah. That's what I noticed. Like, even though, like, I mean, my triceps are killing me right now from yesterday, but I actually felt more energy after. I thought it was going to be, like, I mean, it hurt, but I thought it was going to be dead. Like, I felt like I'm like, okay, let's do something else now. Like, it got me amped, right? So you went to Tokyo, you did a bunch of coverage there, like you were saying. So like, how is the difference of like covering news or food or stuff like in a totally different country than where you're in Sauga?
Well, okay. So the reason how this started was I'm the MC for the Japanese festival in Mississauga, right? Which is now the biggest North American Japanese festival. Right.
Oh, that's crazy.
And it happens at Celebration Square in August. Last year they had like 80,000 people in 2 days. And so I'm the MC, and the Tokyo Tourism and a lot of prefectures were there, and the dude was like, I need to work with that guy on stage, and I'm good friends with the festival organizer. He's like, well, I'll introduce you. Yeah. So I was lucky enough to go down to Japan last year and do top five things to do in Tokyo, and like it's 7 different areas. Like, this is a dream gig. Like, I'm knocking on wood. I'm grateful, you know, and I'm half Japanese. Half Japanese.
Okay.
I'm half Egyptian as well. But
wow.
Yeah. So, but my long story short, I know my Japanese background more than my Egyptian, just because parents got divorced at a very young age, and I know my Japanese heritage more. It was I got to go down there, and it was insane. Like you can't compare Tokyo to almost any other city in the world. You're talking 36 million people in a landmass of half the GTA.
That's crazy.
Right? So that's Canada pretty much in Toronto.
Holy.
Like, so like, you know, so it's, you know, you can't compare. The food scene there is like everybody eats out because everybody's super busy. So literally, you know, within a square block of Japan, there's probably more restaurants in all of Mississauga, right? So it's not even comparable, but it's definitely a city that's you have to check out in your lifetime. Yeah, and, for sure. And I've been lucky enough to go down there, I believe, 6 times now in the last 2 years. So I've been lucky, and awesome. Tokyo Tourism liked it so much that they want season 2. So I'm going back in May. And shooting season 2. So this one's gonna be all about food.
Okay. So we're dropping in May. So hopefully we can link that to in the description.
Nice.
So one thing that you mentioned to me before when we were kind of setting this up was that what keeps you grinding is your family.
Yeah.
So how do you find that balance as an entrepreneur, TV personality, doing all these things? Like, how do you find that work-life balance for you to be able to prioritize them?
Easy. I make time. Like, that's, I mean, I always make time for my son, always make time for my wife. And the cool thing with what I do is my son gets to hang out with me too, right? So if I have a gig, live with Khaled at Celebration Square, he's there with me because there's movies right after.
Yeah,
right?
That's dope.
And so I get to do a lot of things that I wouldn't be able to do if I had a 9 to 5, right? So yeah, I try to I always try to make time for my family,
Yeah.
no matter what. You
Yeah.
know, even if it's too crazy busy. I'll definitely 100% make time for my son
Mhm.
anytime. Like I'll, you know, and the cool thing is he gets kind of like special treatment too, right? You
Yeah.
know, like, and I don't like saying I'm from insauga or anything like that.
Yeah.
I don't like special treatment.
Yeah.
And he loves video games. You know, we we're
Yeah.
talking about the Switch before, right?
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
mean, like, he loves video games, and we've been going to this video game store called Game Experts, Dixie 401 flea market area,
Mhm.
right? All the time, right? You know, and I just go in there, and my son talks to the guys there. You know, they took video games, cool guys, right? And cool story there because they're entrepreneurs. They had a passion for video games and started their own store.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like a year later, he's like, "You're in Sauga." And I'm like, yeah,
You're
I'm like,
inside
yeah,
the
I'm
guy.
like, yeah, I'm like, he goes, when'd you tell me? And I'm like, why? Am I supposed
I'm
to
not
tell?
gonna lead with
Yeah,
that.
I'm like, hey, I'm in Sauga. You know, it's like,
red carpet.
yeah,
roll it
exactly.
out.
Like, so I'm like, yeah. And he's like, when'd you tell me? Right. You know, it's like, I don't like doing that, you know,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't like, I know it sounds weird, but I don't like the attention.
Mm.
I'll do it for the emceeing and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and the attention will come, but I don't go out there and seek attention.
Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
I'm in Sauga. Look at me. You know, it's like, so it's like, yeah. I don't know where I was getting at.
No, you know what? I was actually going to segue into the next thing I was going to say is I one thing even before I started the podcast, just following you and what you do, I think your son's name is Utah.
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 Yeah, just like the state, but spelled Y-U-T-A.
I always see you with your son, and like he's probably like one of the most types of pictures you have on your page.
Yeah.
And I see that you were talking about how you basically run his like you help him shoot his YouTube channel, and you know even the music you guys do. So like the reason I say that is because like in this area where it's like super South Asian, they're like you have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer, but you're like how much of an influence do you think what you do has on him?
I hope I have a positive influence. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to push him to do anything that he doesn't want to.
I like that.
And the cool thing is, you know, he does have a YouTube channel, right? And like maybe he learned that from, you know, daddy and being on stage and stuff. And, you know, people always ask me, what do you do for insauga? I don't do anything for insauga. I'm just a full-time camera operator for his YouTube channel. Right. So it's
That's
like
the real
my
job.
part-time job is insauga. Its full-time
Yeah,
job
yeah,
is
yeah.
being a camera operator. And he'll be like,
That's
Dad,
facts.
we got 3 amiibos to open this weekend. I'm like,
Serious.
does that mean 3 episodes? I'm like, so I just want to be a positive influence.
That's
He's his YouTube channel is Utah's Toy Channel. Fantastic.
We'll link it. We'll link it.
Yeah. So and he's an incredible musician. So I got him into music. He does piano. He does singing. He does drumming. So
That's
he's
awesome.
he's an incredible musician.
Yeah.
And I try to push him to anything he wants to, and just I just want to be a positive role model. That's all I want to be.
Yeah, no, I rate that so much. Like that's what my parents always told me. Like obviously they said, you know, do what you need to do, maybe bare minimum in terms of education, but like we got you no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And trust me, when I told my parents I'm going to be quitting my full-time job, like I mean there was a little bit of hesitation, but they support me. I wouldn't be able to do this podcast and like be living right now if they weren't supporting me that way. So I appreciate it. So one thing that I like to ask on the show, not to be like religious or put that on people, is I always find it interesting when people like have a certain faith or belief, because I find like a lot of people, maybe one of the commonality is they're putting their life into the hands of something maybe they think bigger than them, right? And then when I asked you that question, you said in terms of faith and beliefs, you said you believe in love. So like talk a little bit about that.
I guess because if you love something and you respect everybody and you love everybody, that sounds weird. If you know, it's like if you respect everybody and you know and you're a loving person and a respectful person, then really what's the difference? You know, it's like, you know, you're being a good person, you're putting out good vibes, you're, you know, so, you know, when you asked me that, you know, my religion, I guess it's love, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm more spiritual than anything.
Yeah.
Right. You know, I pray every night, you know, and I pray to, you know, my grandmother that passed away.
Yeah.
So I guess you can call me more spiritual than anything, right?
Yeah.
You know, but you know, if everybody's loving and respectful and, you know, ethical, then what's the difference?
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
So-
For sure. And I think like even like with a lot of religions, it's like that too. And like even just for me, someone as a Christian, like one thing the automatic thing that I first thought, it was like when in the Bible, when Jesus is like people will know you by your love, right? And people will know you by your actions and the way you treat them, and that relationship is more powerful than religion, because it's not that I'm gonna start a relationship to get people to do things, but people will be more willing to coexist and do things collectively when you'll be like, how's your day? And I care about you as an individual before I care about you as a professional type thing, right?
Your answer was way better than mine. Okay, so that was a good answer.
It's okay. I do this all the time.
I will take your answer.
I need to be a pastor. Talk about your favorite quote by is it by Andy Dufresne, or is it Andy Dufresne?
So you ever see the movie Shawshank Redemption?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my favorite movie of all time. Mm-hmm. And in the line in the movie, there's a line where Red, played by Morgan Freeman, says Andy Dufresne escaped, right? And in the quote, I don't know exactly. He pretty much says he had to crawl through like 500 yards of shit to get out clean on the other end, and that's when he escaped the Shawshank Redemption prison.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like life sometimes. Right, where no matter what you do, you have to, get into the gutter. You have to, get yourself dirty and sacrifice. Right. Hopefully, at the end of the tunnel, which Andy Dufresne was in a poo pipe. It's like you come out clean on the other end. Right? So I remember watching that movie like 20 years ago or 25 years ago. I was like, man, I'm aging myself here. But and I remembering that, and remembering my like entrepreneurial journey and kind of a life journey, and I'm like, that kind of is like it's like an entrepreneurial type movie, right? Or so I like that saying, because I'm like, it was just it kind of it's kind of like life. Right? You have to
it's not always going up, but you got to go down, right?
Yeah, you have to go down, and you're going to get yourself dirty. You're going to have to sacrifice, and then hopefully at the end of the tunnel, you're clean. Yeah,
and it's perspective. Like, you see coming out of the end of the tunnel clean, but you don't know what I had to go through to get here.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So just before we start rapid fire, one thing I always ask on this show is, if you could go back in time, if you got the DeLorean, you hop back in time to your first day at TLK, first day of high school, if you could warn yourself or give yourself a word of advice, what would you say to grade 9 Khaled?
Wouldn't say anything. And I'll tell you why. And I sorry, I've been asked this before, right? It's, what can I tell him? Because, I mean, it is going to be a rough ride no matter what.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it be through the high school years or college years or entrepreneurial, I've gone through divorce and stuff like that. Can you imagine? I told him that at TL Kennedy. I'm like, like,
that he'd just be like, wow.
Yeah, it's like, I'm like, suck. Okay, well, I'm gonna, start smoking more.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's like, no, I my past. If I drove a DeLorean and went back to the first day at TL Kennedy, I'll just say, you're gonna do great.
I like that.
You're gonna do great,
like
and enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Right, because I mean, I am where I am right now because of every single thing that's happened in my life.
Yeah, mistakes, successes, it's all culminated. Right?
Yeah.
I like that. So. All right, so we reached that part of the show where it's rapid fire. So I'm gonna shoot off a bunch of these. First thing that comes to your head. You ready?
Let's go. Sorry, can I tell a funny story about rapid fire?
Yeah.
I did that to Hazel McCallion one time.
You did this to Hazel? Wow.
Okay, no, but this is what happened, right?
Bold.
It's like, it was in front of a crowd too, right? I'm interviewing her. Can I do like, what did I call it? I call it, maybe it was rapid fire. I'm like, I'm going to do rapid fire. And she's like, what is that? Right? And I'm like, well, I'm going to say a word and you're going to say the first thing that comes to your head. She goes, no. And I'm like,
it's Hurricane Hazel.
Yeah, it's like, you can't. She is the most powerful lady in Canada.
Wow,
okay, and if
crazy.
She says no, we were like, okay, no problem. Right.
Wow.
So anyways, yeah.
I rate you for doing that though. I wouldn't have never.
But she said no, and I'm like, I'm not going to argue with you.
What are you gonna say, right?
Yeah. So anyway,
all right. Sorry. Pepsi or Coke?
Neither.
Advil.
Wait, sorry. Do I have to? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can say
I'm
neither.
so screwing this up.
Say neither. Like, you're okay. Ground rules. Say either or neither, or just give a random
worst
answer.
Guest.
If I say Pepsi or Coke, you're just like water. Just say it.
Okay.
Pepsi or Coke?
Water.
Advil or Tylenol?
Advil.
Apple or Android?
Android.
Tokyo or Sauga?
Sauga.
Best spot for a photo shoot in Sauga? Korea Park.
Korea Park?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's like an engagement shoot.
A cool place now. This is a longer question, but Aaron Mills Town Center is the Sphere.
Oh,
right. So if you actually put, like, if you have a wide angle, put the phone on the ground and stare at it. That's right. Sick. You have the Sphere above you.
Okay.
Okay. We'll see if a lot more people do that after this podcast.
They got to credit you. Favorite childhood cartoon growing up?
Bugs Bunny than The Simpsons.
Favorite place you've traveled, local or international? I guess I can guess that.
I'm gonna say Tokyo was incredible, but I went to Okinawa.
Okay.
Yeah, and I went there just a couple months ago, and that was absolutely incredible. Like just the sheer history of that area.
Yeah.
But Japan for sure. I mean, Japan is just incredible.
For sure.
You have to travel there.
Favorite place you've traveled, local or international? Oh, wait. Wow, I'm horrible. Favorite book you read or are reading?
I'm not gonna try to sound smart. I'm not reading anything.
Okay.
I'm not. I used to read John Grisham books when I was younger, but that's about it. Yeah. I don't read any motivational stuff or anything like that.
Favorite song right now?
Favorite song? Man, you stumped me on that one. Whatever my son's listen to. You know what it is? This is going to sound silly. So my son has inspired me to pick up the guitar, right? Because I've always wanted to learn. Yeah. So, and he's like, well, why don't we do a duet? And I'm like, oh my God, yes. Right. So I'm like,
doing fatherhood for me.
Yeah. So I'm like, so I grabbed the guitar. So we're learning Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison. That came out, I think, in 87.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Favorite TED Talk speaker besides yourself?
Don't know.
Okay. That's how you know he didn't do his research. No, I'm joking. Best fitness center in Sauga?
Habitual Fitness.
Top 4 foods you had in Tokyo?
Top 4 foods. Surprisingly, sushi's not going to be one of them. Sushi's actually not that big in Japan.
Really?
It's an
American thing.
It's not American, but it's more of a you eat it once a month type thing. So I mean, there's this thing called okonomiyaki.
Okay, you got to explain that.
So what it is, it's cool because businessmen go out, right? And there's if you can imagine like a grill in front of you, and each one of us gets a turn to cook kind of pancake style things on the grill and serve it to your boys.
Okay.
Right? So that was cool. I've tried. I know. Please don't shoot me for this, but they have really exotic raw sashimi there, right? So I once tried, and this is my favorite thing, but I tried chicken sashimi.
Chicken sashimi.
Yeah. So they killed the chicken within hours of it being served to me.
But what about salmonella?
It doesn't. I guess because it's organic and stuff. But it tasted disgusting. It tasted like chewing gum flavored chicken. Right. So, anyways, horse sashimi.
Horse sashimi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ridiculously good. I know I'm gonna get booed here. Yeah. It's like, but that was, and the funny thing is the horses come from Canada.
That's okay. That's weird.
Because that's so they can't grow it there because there's not enough room. Yeah. And I'm gonna say Kobe beef. I went to actual Kobe City to have Kobe beef. Like that was.
That's
insane.
the real experience.
Yeah. Okay.
Who is one person that maybe you rate that everyone should go right now and follow on social media or Instagram or whatever?
I like local. I like local inspirational stories. I follow The Rock and all that stuff. But the thing is, I like talking to people like that I can message, right? So I like local inspirational people. Like I'm looking at starting from scratch. A guy that's that stuck to his craft. This guy named Frost Flow. A breakdancer. Has stuck to his craft, right? So, so people like that, I'd say follow the people that are around your neighborhood, right? Rather than people that you probably will never talk to, right? You might, but I mean, like look look for inspiration around you, because there's a lot of inspiration that are in, the community. So that's what I always do.
Yeah. When you hear the word or you hear the phrase most influential person on your life, who do you automatically think of?
I say now my son, and prior to that was my grandmother. My grandmother passed away in 96. I took her Japanese name at that point, to commemorate her.
Nice.
So yeah, definitely my grandmother and now my son.
Okay. Yeah. If you could go back to a single point in your life just to relive it for one day, just, if it was a great day or it was a bad day, whatever it was for you, what day would that be?
Oh, that's a good one. What day would I live or want to live? I'd probably say any day my grandmother was alive. Right? Just, she literally came to Canada to help my mom out without any hesitation.
Yeah.
And she took care of me. It was my mom and my grandmother that took care of me. So any day with my grandmother.
Yeah. And if you attribute your growth and where you are today to her, it's she was just as much involved in where insauga is today than you are. Right?
100%.
Yeah.
She was,
she invested.
She was the biggest influence probably in my life.
Yeah. If there was a movie on your life, what would the title read? And then I'm going to ask you a follow-up.
What would the title be of the actual movie?
Of the movie on your life?
Shawshank Redemption Part 2.
Okay, and then if they couldn't get you to play you, who would be your lookalike?
Keanu Reeves.
All right, I like that.
Yeah, I think he has some Japanese blood in him, and he's from Toronto, right? So.
If you, okay, just because I know you could still want coffee with your grandma, but if you could have coffee with anyone from any point in history, dead or alive, just to pick their brain, who would it be?
To pick their brain, dead or alive?
Yeah, whoever's dead or even alive right now. You had an opportunity to sit down with them for 5 minutes. Who would that be?
I think dead. I'd love to sit down and talk to Bob Marley. Just
that'd be
just
dope. Yeah.
Just smoke with them. How awesome would that be? And just just talk to him. And just because his perspective of life and the way he lived was just was incredible, right? So I think if living, I'd love to sit down with Barack Obama,
for sure,
100%.
For sure.
Just just his talking, the way he speaks is so eloquent. Barack Obama.
Yeah.
So
if you were stranded on a deserted island, what 2 things would you want with you?
Can I bring people?
Yeah, sure.
It's my son and my wife. Right? So
there you go. There's the answer.
You just say no. No. My copy of Shawshank Redemption.
Redemption. But then you need a TV.
And a TV.
Where you get electricity. Okay.
With Netflix. I don't
a solar powered TV.
Exactly.
With the VCR still
done.
It.
Yeah.
What style did you rock that you look back now and wish you never rocked? So cringe.
Oh, those bell bottoms, those silvers, the house days.
Yeah.
I used to wear those big bell bottoms that you couldn't even see your shoes. I'm aging myself here. It's I don't remember that.
What job would you be horrible at?
Anything to do with fixing up stuff, car stuff. Car stuff, I'm just horrid. Just get me a car that drives from point A to B, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
Flat tire happens, CAA.
Where do you feel you feel the most out of place? You go there and you're I got to get out of here.
There's a lot of places. I mean, I don't I just don't like going to political events or anything like that. Just we'll cover it and stuff, but I mean,
it's not your scene.
I get invited to kind of events, and I just don't like them. I like to say I'm real.
Yeah,
we're
real
both wearing hoodies right now. It's and I just I own one suit, right?
I like that though.
I just I'm a hoodie type T-shirt in the summer type guy. So I don't like going to any places where I have to wear a suit. I guess I had a good question to answer.
That's good. Yeah. All right. Lastly, if you could put a title to your life, or sorry, you can put a title to the chapter of your life that you're in right now. If your life was a book, whatever that title would be, what's the title of where you are right now?
We're just getting started.
We're just getting. I like that. Yeah. All right. So you survived rapid fire. Good job.
Cool.
Now it's this time for guest corner. So you can shout out anything you got going on, any project. You can shout out whatever, or say any last bit of encouragement just to our listeners and viewers.
Well, I'll tell you a quick story.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know Barack Obama was in Mississauga at one point?
No.
Yep, he was.
And you knew about it?
So, no, this is in '02. And I should have said this when we had the Barack Obama answer. But his sister is married to a Burlington person from Burlington, Ontario. And they had their wedding reception at Summit Garden in Winston Churchill and Dundas area.
Okay.
Anyways, he was there.
Wow.
So Barack has been
was in Sauga.
Was in Mississauga in
Rate
02.
us now.
In 02 when he was like really nobody.
It's okay.
Like,
You rate Sauga now.
I know.
Okay?
It's like
I like that. I like that.
Sorry, but that's just a story. A Barack Obama story.
All right. So that wraps it up for our show today. I'm gonna leave everything that Khaled has going on and Utah and anything else that he wants to put out. But before we go, one thing I like to do is give you guys a bit of word of encouragement because I know you guys are grinding and sometimes you don't slow down just to hear it. But just overall, like I love how with your company you've shown that it doesn't have to be these mainstream giants. Like when you said you're the fishing pole that beat all these people, like you don't have to complicate it and you don't have to have millions of dollars to back an idea. I love that you started in a Moxie's. Shout out white chocolate brownie. If you haven't had
was
that
good.
yet,
I remember that. Oh my God. Yeah.
If you don't have a white chocolate brownie yet, you have to go.
I'm going to Moxie's tonight.
I love those stories. Yeah, I love that story where you started a Moxie's and you wrote on like a napkin or whatever. I like that. And just as much as you're professional, like you prioritize your family. I feel like, especially as a youth worker, that's the biggest issue. Like a lot of themes in my show was they didn't have a dad in their life or they had divorced parents, and like you prioritize your son. I see 100%, and I rate you for that because it's so sad that that's a rarity today. But I rate you for that.
He makes it easy.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. That's good. And just how multifaceted and talented you are, because I mean, like I was talking to you a bit off camera. I'm like, like, how do you just go to these talks? Do you wing it? But like you said 7 meetings today, and then like, you're doing this and I'm like, I worked a 1 shift and then I had to do a podcast and I'm already dying. You did 7 things already today. So, but no, like I think, one thing, like the reason I wanted to get you on is like I found insauga on Facebook and then I started following you, and like you leave a positive footprint on Sauga. You let people know that Sauga is a great place to be, and we need people like that because that's what I try to do for Malton. Because people, the Mississauga News actually posted an article that said Malton, Mississauga's wasteland, and I'm like, okay, because of because of one shooting, right? But no, it encourages me because when you put your pocket or wherever you are on the map like that, and it's not so much about just saying things but doing and living out, I rate that because I always believe in like your action speaks louder than your words, and you like embody that entirely. So.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, and Malton has an incredible history. And I've learned that through the website. They have there was an explosion of I think it was
road.
On Airport Road, and but they have some of the best eats in Mississauga. Like, they have it's like I whenever I come up here, but it is far, it's like, because it's like there's an airport in between, but it's, I always love the food here. It's so good.
All right, man. Well, I just wanted to thank you for being on the show today. And like I said, we're going to drop everything there. So thank you, sir. We're out.